Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at Etrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Shocker Hitch HD Ball Mount with a cushion airbag, and this is going to be for your 3-inch hitches. Now this is an extremely heavy duty hitch, and that's probably where it gets the name HD. This is for a 3-inch receiver, so it's going to be some of your larger vehicles like our Freightliner that we have here today. But the great part about this is you can choose a bunch of different hitches, and some of them have adjustability, some of them don't. But this kind of has the best of all worlds. You can have a 2 5/16 ball or a 2-inch ball like we have attached here. And you also have a bunch of different adjustment. In fact, it's going to be 4.5 inches. So that's pretty nice. You can adjust for, the different height trailer that you may have. It also has just a really nice powder coat finish. It looks really good. And people look at it and go, what is that? But that's the thing, is it does a working job of really making it a better towing experience. And it's just high quality. You can really see that it's put together well. It also has some nice Zerk fittings on this side here. So as far as maintenance goes, super easy. Just plug a little grease in there, comes with these pins. So it's got a lot of great things going for it. And while it may seem like overkill for a normal just combo of towing, if it's something that you do regularly with a heavy trailer, this is something that's really gonna make your driving experience that much better. Now, early in the year, I was able to talk to a customer that actually had a Shocker Hitch on his similar RV, and he carries a trailer with his race car loaded up with a bunch of accessories, whether it be tires or tools or whatever. Either way, super loaded up. And he was from California, and the roads out there were not great. And he said over time, just that constant banging of that pressure on the tongue actually caused part of his trailer to crack. So on his next one, he set it up to be a little bit heavier duty, but he also put the Shocker Hitch there. And that's something that's interesting too, is it's gonna take the stress off of the trailer. That airbag is meant to move like that, and that just makes it a little bit smoother, not only for the driver and the experience, but also for the RV as well as the trailer. Now, obviously, because it does have the airbag, it is quite a bit larger than your standard hitch. So there are a few things you need to take in consideration before just putting on your RV or your truck. You need to make sure that you have 5 inches of clearance underneath your hitch. And that's because it uses that to sandwich against to press this up and pivot, closing this gap. Now, something else you'll need to know is from your hitch pin hole to the outward part of the hitch is going to be 7 inches. So that is something to consider to make sure that it fits with your vehicle. Now, with the 2 different ball sizes, you are going to get 2 different capacities, and you're going to want to adhere to those, so make sure that you don't overload them. You also want to check to make sure that your vehicle as well as your hitch is rated for that as well. Now, you will be able to adjust that height obviously with these pins, which is really nice. Something I should mention is you aren't going to get a pin clip. I recommend getting a locking one, which we have available here at Etrailer, and that's going to be a 5/8, and that way you can lock this in place. You don't want anyone walking away with this hitch. It's quite the investment. Now, something else is you can use this with different Shocker Hitch accessories. So that's going to be a pintle hook, clevis pin, drawbar. Now, those are all going to be separate, obviously, but that just allows you to hook up to a bunch of different style trailers. Now, due to the geometry and the way that the Shocker Hitch works, you can't just flip this like a normal ball mount. So if you need a rise or a drop, you can actually get the Shocker Hitch with a rise or a drop of the ball. So you're just going to want to make sure to select that when shopping. We have those here available at Etrailer, and you really want to make sure that you're able to custom fit directly to your vehicle. So if it does kind of exceed the height adjustments or the drop on this, you can always look at those and make sure that it works properly with your trailer. The airbags, I've installed plenty of airbags on trucks, and it's great for having that heavy load, and they do an awesome job of supporting it and really taking some of that out. But that's doing the heavy lifting. You still have this nice cushion here, so it's also going to reduce it. So you kind of get a battle of both of these working together against that chucking. While this is supporting the weight, this is going to soften that sharp impact blow. So with both of them in conjunction, you're going to get a nice smooth ride. Now, the first step that you're going to want to do when using your Shocker Hitch is attach your trailer to your ball mount here. You can see that it slides, but once we get that pressure on here, we can actually fill up the bag, and that's going to fill this up, bringing it to this nice stop here. And once that bag raises right here and it's flush, you know that you're good. So I'll get this lowered down and hooked up. So with everything connected up, I'm gonna go ahead and get some air filled in here so that this closes that gap. So we'll just take off our cap here, and you have just a standard Schrader valve. So we're just gonna fill this up, not paying attention to PSI. We're really just looking for this gap to close up. So I'm gonna start filling it up. And pretty quickly, that filled up, closed that gap, and I can actually let this off a little bit since it does have that pressure. So that's the great part about this. You can kind of fine tune it. So I'm gonna just bump this just a hair. I think that's gonna be good. So now we're out in our test course and we're gonna see how this works. So when adding suspension, obviously it's gonna soften the blow between things, and suspension upgrades are great, especially for an RV, but a lot of times people think about the trailer and just go, well, that's just kind of pulling a trailer, but that's not the case. The Shocker Hitch actually does a really good job of adding suspension at the point where you're hooking up to the trailer. So all that bouncing around on the tongue and coupler is going to be softened by that airbag. And the great part about this one is it's super easy to just visually look, fill it up. You don't have to really mess with PSIs. It's not really about the numbers, it's about that closing up. And that way that airbag can soften that blow. And every time you hit that bump, it should really take that out. And also just some of that reverberation over roads should get absorbed as well. So again, I'm gonna hit just a few bumps here, and that's really where you're gonna notice that. You know, as you drive on the roads of the US highway system, you're gonna find a lot of that, and it just adds a lot more stress. And honestly, as far as the contents in the trailer, that's also important. And that was something that our neighbor said that was very interesting. He loaded up all his extra tools and everything in his trailer, and he set a soda on the little workbench in there. And when he was done hitting all those same roads that he was used to in his old trailer without the shocker, he pretty much expected, well, that soda's probably spilled everywhere. That's not the case. It was sitting on his desk still, and that says something. The fact that it's able to absorb all that is huge. So while it may seem like a little excessive, it does work, and it really does work for not only, again, the vehicle, the trailer, but also just the contents of the trailer, and it's just going to prolong the lifespan of all of them. And that was a look at the Shocker Hitch HD for 3-inch hitches.